Mechanism.
HIV is a retrovirus, which means it is incapable of self-replication. To generate and duplicate itself, it must penetrate and employ the mechanism of CD4 cells. 1. Attachment. HIV binds to cell receptors on the cell surface. 2. Fusion. The envelope of the HIV fuses with the CD4 cell membrane, allowing the virus to enter the cell. 3. Reverse transcription. The virus releases an enzyme called reverse transcriptase within the CD4 cell and utilizes it to transform its genetic material from RNA to DNA. The conversion of RNA to DNA allows HIV to enter the cell's nucleus and combine with its genetic material. 4. Integration. Inside the CD4 cell's nucleus, HIV releases an enzyme which is integrase and uses it to insert its viral DNA into the CD4 cell DNA. 5. Transcription. Once integrated into CD4 cell DNA, HIV uses the host CD4 cell's enzyme to make mRNA. 6. Translation. The long chains of mRNA will be translated into proteins. The protein chains are the building block for more HIV. 7. Assembly. New HIV RNA and new HIV proteins move to the surface of the cell and assemble into immature HIV, which is non-infectious. 8. Budding. Once assembled, the newly immature virus pushes itself out of the host cell. The new HIV releases protease, which will break up the long protein chains in the immature virus, creating the mature virus. The mature viruses are the infectious viruses.
HIV screening. No test can directly detect HIV after infection. Window period is time between a person exposed to HIV and the ability of test to detect the infection. There are 3 main types of tests. First, antibody test, also called immunoassay or ELISA test, only looks for antibody to HIV, involves blood or oral fluid, generally very accurate but may get false negative result as it takes 23 to 90 days to detect infection. Second, antigen or antibody combined test that look for both HIV antibodies and antigens, a protein called P24 that is part of the virus, involves drawing blood or pricking fingers, sensitive to an antibody test as it can detect HIV infection about 18 to 45 days after an exposure. Next, nucleic acid test looks for actual virus in the blood, involves drawing blood, the most sensitive as it can detect about 10 days after exposure to HIV, but very expensive. If positive, better get a standard lab test to confirm it like Western blot test. If negative, test again after window period as previous test may give a false negative result.